So it's early, I'm about to go to the gym, but I wanted to really talk about this before I left. So a couple weeks ago, the New Yorker came out with an article about Hasan Minhaj. The article claimed a wide range of things, chief among them that Hasan had embellished stories at the expense of others, like a girl who he had asked to prom who rejected him, and he said, hey, it was about race, when apparently it was not. That's what the article claimed. It also said that, hey, he never really had an anthrax scare, and the story about Brother Eric, an undercover FBI agent who spied on him and his family, was completely fabricated. This story made the rounds everywhere. It was difficult for me to report on because I'm actually a fan of Hasan Minhaj. I'm actually also a fan of Clare Malone. If you don't know Clare Malone was, prior to this article at least, right, an incredibly detailed, intelligent investigative reporter. She did amazing, important work on polarization in America, the shifting of demographics, how the world is changing that a lot of news outlets just did not cover or really invest into. So when she got laid off by Disney owns some news outlets. I was like, what the oh, fucking that sucks. Maybe she's going to go to another place that actually appreciates her talents. Because again, Claire's work was important. And when I saw this article, I felt really kind of weird about it. And the thing that I'm always aware of is that, hey, I have personal biases, and my personal biases should not get in the way of me talking about facts or holding accountability to things that I once liked. For example, hey, Maniac is a brilliant, incredible show, and the guy who made it is a fucking creep. So I reported my take on Freestyle the News. Hey, you can embellish stories in stand-up, but if you make your entire personality about how factual the story is and you trade your name on it, if it's not true, it's probably a fuck up. It feels disingenuous to do that, especially with the way you've branded yourself over time. And of course, everybody ran with the story. It was in major headlines. This morning, Minhaj released a response to all of those things. And there's a lot to unpack in this statement. It's a 20-minute statement. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I just wanted to really quickly talk about it and highlight it. But Minhaj also brought receipts, which I do want to play for you. And the chief thing about these receipts is that it is in direct opposition to a lot of what the New Yorker said.
Told a story about how I was supposed to go to prom with a white girl named Bethany Reed. Her real name is not Bethany. I changed it to protect her anonymity. At the doorstep, her mom tells me they don't want her to go to prom with me because they'll be taking a lot of pictures and they don't want their family back home to see her with a brown boy. Bethany's mom did really say that. It was just a few days before prom.
Is the doorstep moment true? Like,
no,
did that happen?
No. It happened before. But the emotional truth remains the same. Her mom going, "Hey, sweetie, we take photos and we don't want people to see. We have family back home."
Did she sort of give that as the reason of like, my parents aren't comfortable with
yes.
going to,
Yes.
Yeah.
And it just destroyed me.
Yeah. Sure. That's understandable.
The reporter said it's understandable. But none of what I explicitly said makes it in the article.
So that was a big one, right? One of the biggest criticisms that Minhaj got from that whole story was the fact that he embellished the story about this girl rejecting him from prom, and she got doxxed. Multiple people reported the story. Even I felt really fucking weird about the story. And even on the Leftist Mafia, and I talked to Matt Binder about it. I was like, hey, that story may actually be inaccurate. And on that same podcast, the Surfs, Lance, actually hit me up and said, hey, there may be a little bit more to the story than you're thinking. The receipts Minhaj has, and again, I'll link the 20-minute video down below, which I do think you should watch if you have the time, really do disprove a lot of the New Yorker's claims. Like, they're fairly damning.
This is what they wrote instead.
She told me that she turned down Minhaj, who was then a close friend in person days before the dance. Minhaj acknowledged that this was correct, but he said that the two of them had long carried different understandings of her rejection.
This whole paragraph makes it sound like I got friend-zoned by Bethany, and then I turned into an angry incel, and then faked racism to get back at her. And I think this sentence is the reason why people believe that. He said that the two of them had long carried different understandings of her rejection. This sentence is incredibly misleading and implies the exact opposite of what I meant. Let me explain.
The racism he spoke of in the special did happen. It just happened a couple days before, and he just compressed the story a bit. That is normal in stand-up. That is absolutely normal, and that is absolutely valid to talk about. There are multiple other comedians, John Mulaney included, who have spoken on their experiences, serious experiences like this. And they've talked about it in public during interviews. It is a completely valid story to bring up because of the precedent set by other comedians in this field. And what's worse is Clare Malone, and I fucking hate this because, again, Clare Malone was I really was a fan. Clare Malone summarized and fucking honestly omitted a lot of important shit with an agenda.
As early as, I believe fall 2014.
I have these if you want.
Yeah, and then we have email correspondence in 2017, which we can give you.
Okay.
Then I now shift to email correspondence, which she can give you.
I have it. I can send it to you.
Yeah. So and happy to give you all these emails.
Sure.
Not only that, we confirmed the emails were sent to the reporter and their fact checker before the article came out. Therefore, they knew my rejection was due to race. I confirmed it on the record and provided corroborating evidence. And yet, they misled readers by excluding all of that and splicing two different quotes together to leave you thinking that I made up a racist incident.
These pieces can either be hit pieces or investigative pieces talking about the truth in public figures. And a lot of times we either believe one or the other. And a lot of people were giving credence to the latter for Clare Malone because she has a pedigree, because she's she's a smart writer, but this is sloppy. This is bad journalism. It's bad journalism. You misrepresented an interview to prove a personal point and create a hit piece. And by the way, that hit piece had consequences. There are other receipts Minhaj brings up that back up his other two stories. Now, granted, he did embellish parts of those stories as well, but pointing out what was real and what was fiction with his receipts there, it's valid. It is valid as any other stand-up point made.
Truth is, I did have altercations with undercover law enforcement growing up, and that experience formed the basis of this story. But let me make something clear. A letter with white powder was sent to my apartment in February of 2019. I opened it in the kitchen, powder fell on the table, and my daughter was just a few feet away. After 10 seconds of freaking out, I realized it was not anthrax and that someone was fucking with me because people had been fucking with me since January 1st, 2019 after this happened.
Well, Netflix under fire today after its decision to pull an episode of a comedy show that was critical of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman.
And if you don't follow stand-up or know what's been going on over the last 10 years about, the whole cancel culture thing, there's a larger debate and fight that's been going on in terms of the business between comedians who, they would work clubs and figure out how to hone the best material versus people who build shows and more theatrical experiences like a one-man show. Those are two diametrically opposed ideas in stand-up that have been kind of clashing over the last decade or so. And again, all of these receipts that clarify everything were given to Malone. She had emails to help her decipher all this. She had multiple different texts to help her decipher all this. There's audio of him offering all of these to her and her going, yeah, I have all of this. And none of it was reported. All of it was omitted for this viewpoint. That's fucked. I know a lot of people got mad at me for the Jonah Hill story that I did because I should have reported a little bit more of the context there. And I felt really, really bad about that. There are certain parts of that story that I really do stand by. But hey, it is important to have the full context of things. And this is no different. And the worst thing is the New Yorker responded. And I'm going to read this response. It's a pretty fucking bad response. Hasan Minhaj confirms in this video that he selectively presents information and embellishes to make a point. Exactly what we reported. That is not what you reported. That is not what you fucking reported. When you use semantics like a bunch of fucking morons, what are you writing for your fucking school newspaper for smarmy people without assholes? Our piece, which includes Minhaj's perspective at length, was carefully reported and fact-checked. It's based on interviews with more than 20 people, including a former Patriot Act and Daily Show staffers, member of Minhaj's security team, and people who have been the subject of his stand-up work, including the former FBI informant, Brother Eric, and the woman at the center of his prom rejection story. We stand by our story. Yeah, but there's fucking evidence. Like, he presents a lot of the evidence that you have. And most of the things that you are reporting on, you don't even quote the woman who you talk to. You summarize her perspective. And you summarize Minhaj's perspective incorrectly, by the way. You summarize it incorrectly. It's deliberately misleading. And there's evidence of that. And the worst thing is a lot of people are not going to read it. But here's a dirty trick. A lot of journalists know that post BuzzFeed world, most motherfuckers read the headline, maybe the summary points, and bail on an article. They would rather read tweets and reactions to things to form opinions than actually read what the fuck is going on. That's why you have a lot of misinformation. That's how all of this shit works. It's frustrating to read an article from somebody you really rooted for. Like, I was a fan. I know it's weird to be a fan of a reporter, but I was a fan of Clare Malone in a world that was incredibly polarized and built to mislead people on biases and market to them. And here Clare Malone is misleading people and marketing a narrative for her own benefit. Modern day journalism is rife with this shit. Character assassinations are like the primary way people try to win debates. People try to form demographics. It hurts journalism when this is an avid avenue, somebody who has made their career on smart, data-driven journalism, which is fact-checked, which is seen as really prescient and important and helps on building out full stories and helping us understand the scope of some of the most consequential elections and political movements of our time. When people who do that are kind of pushed into this really bad corner where, hey, let's take down public figures, not truth to power, that's a completely different thing, but let's take down public figures for clicks. And the fact that so many points were actively ignored needs to be talked about and needs to be reported. We're in the middle of a world crisis and a war that's very difficult to even speak on. This week is going to be really heavy with freestyle in the news. And if I'm being honest, if your fact checked turns into a character assassination piece when the quotes don't match your summarizations, it's not a profile or a character assassination piece at all. It's a fucking lie. Anyway, that's my take. I wanted to talk a little bit about it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this video doesn't turn out longer than the Minhaj one. I'm going to link Hasan's video below. Let me know what you think. New freestyle the news on Sunday. Talk soon.